You're fucking kidding me. I know. Yeah, I know. I've got no fucking lights. I know, you stupid. Hang on a minute. 1,000 miles to get your head straight? Whose idea was this? I'm Alistair Klinkenberg, a journalist of sorts, sports enthusiast, bit of a drifter, and during COVID, like half the known world, I started riding a bike. Since fleeing the big smoke in my mid-20s, my life has been an exercise in trying to deal with the anxiety and depression that's plagued me since childhood. Surfing was always the constant, but I found that it just wasn't reliable enough. So I started running, which eventually spawned cycling. I've been amazed by how beneficial exercise has been for me, both physically and mentally. I'd been living in Byron Bay, and to be honest, didn't gel with it at all. Sitting cross-legged and talking about my feelings just really isn't my thing. So I hatched a plan to get out. A pilgrimage on 2 wheels from the north coast of New South Wales to the south. Enlisted the help of my mate Sam.
Where am I?
And found a way to make the trip seem a bit more meaningful. The idea was to ride, raise a little money, and catch up with people along the way to talk about the various methods to deal with head noise. Remarkably, GoPro bought into my haphazard vision and flung us a few cameras, and then it started raining. Everything is just moldy, every corner, every curtain. It's hectic, man. And raining. I got off pretty lightly on the personal front, but being covered in shit chatting to people who just lost everything made me realize that my own battles with anxiety and depression were small fry compared to people who just lost everything in a natural disaster, often for the second time in only 5 years. Another element had been added to the plot: climate change. And it just so happened that we were heading from the northern rivers, where the worst flooding on recent Australian record had just occurred, to a place close to my heart, the South Coast, which experienced devastating bushfires in 2019, in which several friends of mine lost their family homes. I've decided to combine getting ready for this trip, packing up my house. Oh man, this is a fucking nightmare. After much ado, which mainly consisted of rain, mold, and ample stress, the morning arrived and we were off.
Look how sexy you look in that little suit.
Thanks, Greenie.
So cute.
I'd kept it pretty quiet, but the longest I'd ridden in one go up until this point was 80 kilometers. So the next 2 weeks of 100 kilometer plus days was sure to throw up some interesting results, if nothing else. Pretty much the worst conditions ever.
Doing great, mate.
Now I might look the part, but to be honest, I don't know the first thing about bikes or cycling. Just that it's a nice way to get from A to B that's good for the headspace. My bike cost $1,500 off some bloke on Gumtree, and my fancy gear came thanks to a few professional sounding emails to Rafa. Thanks, Rafa. It looked like it was going to be a long, soggy venture, but remarkably, just after lunch, the sun came out. For the first time in months. As soon as I started going up that hill, I was like, this is what I wanted to do. Bit of pain, bit of physical pain and suffering. Much better than mental pain and suffering. At the end of a relatively smooth first day, we rolled into stop 1, Old Murrah. Yeah, alright. Riding on the flat is definitely a lot easier than riding in the Mullumbimby fucking madness hills, that's for goddamn sure. Head noise of past days is long gone. It's about as far away as Mullumbimby is right now. Oh my god, that's like the best tasting. I was like smashing like warm water and that tasted so good. And I was like, god, a beer's gonna taste good. So much already.
Prepared.
Yeah, well, day 1. We'd arranged to meet up with Lauren and Nathan, 2 more mad two-wheelers who'd given up the creature comforts in search of an adventure on the open road. And they've been at it for over a year, cycling from the Mornington Peninsula to where we met them on the north coast, a distance that takes nearly 20 hours in a car.
Could be bike repair kit and first aid kit, could be toiletry bag and the hammock that we haven't used apart from once. I think COVID obviously had something to do with it. Like we were both just kind of like, we need to do something different. And I don't know. I don't know why. I think I kind of romanticised the bike trip in my head a little bit. Like when I was in Europe, I met so many people cycling around Europe, and I was like, yeah, I want to do that. And didn't quite realise how hard it is. But yeah, we just bought the bikes in July last year and thought, we'll just go. So.
Yeah.
Are you expecting any like mental breakdowns on your trip?
Oh, hopefully, yeah. Well, I've been having those for like a week before I left, so.
Yeah.
Day 2 looked like it was going to be one of the toughest rides of the whole trip. Sam and I aren't really into planning and numbers, not that that's what we told GoPro, but we knew it was 130-something kilometers, and the Dorrigo, our final destination, was on top of a big mountain, so I was expecting to feel the burn at some point. Hey, hasn't even begun. Hasn't begun. Absolutely. Oh my God. It's amazing what goes through your head during 4 hours of pedaling uphill. The anxious mind can start worrying about one thing, fueled on by your furious pedaling, before you suddenly snap out of it and start worrying about something else.
I was getting scared you might have died.
I gotta charge my life. I think we might be getting there in the dark. Then you start feeling good for a moment and realize how beautiful the Australian bush is before finding something else to worry about. Eventually, you're tired enough to only worry about whether this godforsaken bike ride is ever gonna end. Oh, I am thirsty. I was waiting for the huge mountain, like the Mount Doom, but it never came. The weather was miserable, and sitting in a leaky tent didn't seem too appealing. So when Sam found out that it was open mic night at the Dorrigo Golf Club, we thought we'd go and check out the local music scene.
Honestly, don't walk in with that. Not even kidding, it's just too weird.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Dorrigo Golf Club open mic on Thursday night.
What's that old town to me? Do you see me, Scotty Morrison, in your leather platter chair? Yes, I gave all my love to freedom, but she won't see me now.
Yeah, I vote we go have coffee for. Oh my God, that's horrendous. Oh, stiff. Fuck, where's my toilet card? Fuck, prick. Back devil. That's gonna be fucking miserable riding in that today. Fuck. Come on, mate, piss off. Oh, fuck off. Wow. Yeah, that's an eye-opener, make no mistake, Samuel.
The descent into Balgan was super busy, so we swung a left and went the long way round. The long way round turned out to be one of the most beautiful bike rides I've ever been on. Now, I'm no hippie, but I've long been aware that everything seems that little bit less depressing and claustrophobic when you're out in nature, especially somewhere as beautiful as the Balgan hinterland. Makes sense that our collective psyche is on a downward spiral as unchecked, greedy development increasingly becomes a way of life. and climate disasters continue to threaten and destroy the wild spaces that keep our egos in check. We'd come to these parts to meet Alex, a psychologist friend of Sam who's also a prominent member of Mind Medicine, a registered charity promoting evidence-based psychedelic-assisted therapies. I've long been fascinated by the effects that psychedelics can have on the mind, and was excited to talk to Alex about how mind-altering substances can be used to help treat anxiety and depression.
That would have been good. From your point of view, do you think people's collective mental health has gotten worse since you kind of started kind of operating as a psychologist?
So I guess as the state of the world is becoming more chaotic and these events like COVID and the lockdown and the fear around that and the social isolation, big weather events, of course that's going to affect mental health and just this general instability that seems to be escalating in the world.
I don't know, psychedelics have really become a hot topic in the last kind of little bit.
Yeah, look, I think psychedelics are a very powerful tool, and like any tool, like a knife, they can be used for incredible gain or they can be risky. The risks in terms of what's observed with the research seem very, very low. Like, you know, health problems are really minimal.
When I'm on a bike ride, it's amazing how you can start off feeling one way and that changed like almost 4 or 5 times throughout a you know, you kind of feeling or you're ruminating and you suddenly shift and it's kind of euphoria and then you suddenly shift, and at the end I kind of just, it's that learning that whatever you're experiencing right now can change and will change.
If we allow things to flow, you know, which is just opening up, they do
passes through.
But if we kind of, if there's those kind of you can call them kind of secondary feelings and cognitions, so I shouldn't be feeling this way, I should be happy. Look at everyone on social media, they're all happy. And, you know, I'm feeling guilty for feeling depressed, or anxious for feeling depressed, or depressed for feeling anxious. So those kind of secondary feelings, they all kind of keep it blocked. So something like, you know, quite intense exercise where you raise your cardio, it's probably one of the best ways to improve your state of mind, you know, and rise out of depression. But it's also, I get it's really challenging if you're in that depressed state and you're lacking any motivation to do the exercise. So I guess with the biohacking breathing, it's not asking so much of people, but you know, an hour running would be asking.
You said the kind of, what was particularly frustrating about the kind of medical model that you walked into, in your kind of opinion?
True healing does not come through psychotropic medication. There's a general tendency to, you're depressed or something's happened, or a relationship breakdown, or you're anxious, and it's like, oh, here you go, have some medication. And I would like that to be the last port of call, unless you're very concerned for the well-being of that person, like immediate risk.
So into Balgan and keep going straight, huh?
Yep, right at the highway, off again.
Yep.
Too easy.
It's pretty easy, I can remember that.
Waterfall Way doesn't stop until the highway, so be careful.
Thank you so much, really appreciate it, that was amazing. Beautiful. Alright, here we go. Jack, we're going to do a double baby hug. Lovely to meet you, man.
Dude,
thanks for having us.
You too.
Thanks for having us, man.
Enjoy the ride, my man.
I will try. Highway left, dark water, Gladstone. Here goes nothing. I'm going the wrong way on the highway. Weather had been dismal, and there hadn't been much surfing to speak of so far, so we were hoping the iconic East Coast road trip spot Crescent Head might provide. We checked the surf, and we checked it again.
and then once more for good luck. The ultimate conclusion being, should have been here yesterday.
Not really, no. Shit house. Just want to go home, but I don't have one. Fuck, I'd love to go surfing though. Look, what the fuck? It just looks so like it's pumping somewhere. Stupid fucking sport.
To be honest, it was getting pretty old.
I feel like I've got the weight of the world on my shoulders today. But hopefully we'll pull through. Just a little gentle off-road ride today on a very unsuitable bicycle, which hopefully will make me feel better.
Good luck.
Thanks, mate.
It's always darkest before the dawn. I'm not sure which tide hack penned that horrible cliche, but it sure rang true on the lead into Foster that night. That'll teach me not to charge my gadgets overnight.
Oh, you're fucking kidding me!
I know. Yeah, I know. I've got no fucking lights. I know, you stupid. I fucking know, right?
Is this road a joke?
Fuck me. Fuck off, you stupid. Fuck off! Riding into Foster on the Lakes Way Death Road with no lights, no phone, and no way of seeing the road in front of me was genuinely one of the most stressful and frightening experiences of my life. But it's amazing what a difference a good sleep and a sunny morning can make. After a stressful start to the trip, the brief for Foster was simple: relax, smoke a joint, and go surfing. I learned long ago that blowing into town on a whim and expecting to score waves is a mug's game, especially with somewhere with as many sand-dependent spots as this part of the coast. But that didn't stop us from checking every surf spot known to man.
Oh, that sucked. Ow. That was not what we needed. Fuck, I go surf.
To be honest, we didn't find much, but decided to go and dodge a few bull sharks anyway, and make the most of the good weather and clean water after weeks of not being able to surf up north thanks to toxic waste spilling into the sea as a result of the floods. We'd also promised GoPros some cutting-edge, high-octane surf footage, and despite neither of us ever having filmed in the water before, we figured it couldn't be that hard to get footage of a few wiggles or one of those artsy underwater follow cam shots. So it turns out that filming surfing with a GoPro is way harder than we thought, but we both managed to get a few waves without getting our legs bitten off, which is a small victory in these parts. Then we wound up the day in one of the best spots known to mankind, the Pacific Palms Rec Club.
Fuck, gonna miss this place.
Whilst we didn't score much in the surf department, the change in weather made all the difference, and spirits were instantly lifted. It's amazing how much difference something as simple as a sunny day makes on a trip like this. Insert whatever tired cliche you like about living in the moment, seizing the day, taking everything as it comes. Man, there's a lot of dull ways to describe this shit. But on this day, my overarching thought was, well, at least it's not raining, which is a nice headspace to be in, especially when the roads are smooth and the scenery is pleasant, as it was that morning. Yeah, legend. Thank you, mate. Jam, thanks so much.
Fuck, how nice is this? I feel like I'm on holiday. Let's go have some fun.
I just waked up these pads and fully split the look.
I'm gonna have to ride it sitting like this. homoerotic enough. It'd be pretty fun to take some mushies and go and soak up this weird fucking place.
Thank you. It's just a check.
This is what 60 bucks gets you these days, eh?
Bit of concrete.
That was fucked. I didn't have a towel. Have we got any towels?
No.
Got one?
Right. Last photo one.
Yeah. Oh, yum.
Is that what I sound like?
They're talking about making pornos. Anything with this conversation.
There's no escape from this.
Oh, let's have a GoPro break, eh? People think we've gone to Dubai or something. I have no idea where we're going. Newey, biggest coal port in the world. Look at that. It's a race against the clock with Newey. Can we get 100 k's to your mine before 4 o'clock to get the last ferry to the northern beaches? It's going to be very, very close, I think. Give it a crack. Just gunning to get this ferry. It's going to be pretty tight. I've just been flogging myself all afternoon. Fuck, I'm over this shitty highway. People fucking beeping at me. I've got a fucking flat tire. 3 k's from the ferry. I'm not gonna make it. I think I'll have a meltdown if I try and fucking change that tire right now, so I'm just gonna fucking try and roll as lightly as possible. I just got off the ferry in Palm Beach, so we're like 20 minutes away. Oh, fuck. Ugh. They're throwing bombs at us. Bullshit. You're kidding. We're in Newport Beach, home of Thomas Victor Carroll, 2 times world champ. And we're gonna go and talk to him about mental health, addiction, meditation, and yeah, getting out there and moving your body. 18 minutes?
Yeah, it's nice work.
Mate, we did it. Yeah.
What a gift.
Mate, what a
When
absolute...
you do it for a bigger reason though,
Yeah.
things sort of tend to kind of fall into play, like start to sort of come and support you, don't they?
Totally, yeah. I was super surprised at how well the body held up.
Well, it's just meant to do, look at you.
Yeah.
It's meant to do this
Yeah.
stuff.
This is my friend Sam. This is
Hey,
Sam.
Sam.
Sam the cameraman.
Sam the cameraman. Sam the cameraman. Have a good one.
Have a nice day.
Cheers, mate. Come on, baby. Yoga.
Going down the yoga, and obviously you're like very into meditation. How was that process for you? Like you're quite a like go-getter, like high octane kind of guy. How was that process of going and learning something that's just completely opposite maybe of what you're naturally kind of inclined to do?
It's actually working with all the elements. So the fire within me was probably cooking me a bit too much. If I was just to go the other way and just didn't ignore that and just fire it up all the time like I'd like to, because it's in me, I would have just cooked way overcooked myself a long time ago.
Yeah. And I'm curious to talk to you about the kind of the role of the ego in driving you as a professional sportsman.
It helped me drive to a point. So on one hand, it's been beautiful and very, very supportive on creation. And then, well, we might be able to maintain being a world champion for a little bit. And then you put to the test again in competition. You have to regain your power or whatever it was you got to recreate again, go into creation mode. If you're not willing to do that and you get caught up in the illusory sense of ego, then it's everyone else's fault, and all of a sudden we're leaning on a kind of a very false sense of self as an identity, and we get into trouble with that. We tend to go for something to make us feel like we're there, and drugs are a really good source of actually kind of replacing a feeling. So the real feeling inside us gets replaced by an exogenous sort of element that makes us feel good. But it's all good for a moment. You got to have more. And so we find out that that's quite a powerful illusion on the other side of it, the effect. And it becomes cyclical if we don't address it. That was quite a journey, and one of that has to be going. You have to go in to go for that journey. And then, funny enough, it's at first it's quite scary to go in because it's not familiar at all at that point, because you've been going outward for so long. So, but yeah, nothing to be scared of. I can tell you, it's actually the opposite.
So how important for you is routine now?
Again, go to something that's pointless. It seems pointless to the mind. The intellect says, oh, I've got a lot better things to do. And the intellect's very, very charged up, and when it gets charged up, it's got the answers to everything, or it's trying to find meaning in everything. Everything. Even these little phones, and what's he doing here, Sam? And what the hell are you doing here? And what are you doing? Riding bike? Oh, I want to make many. And you got a whole bunch of mental noise activity. So that's why, I was very much like that when I came into recovery. So I know the benefits of creating a gap between that first thought and action on this crazy thing called Instagram that was just a whole bunch of noise. And I thought, let's try sort of antidote it.
Yeah. That's amazing. Tom, that's pretty much all I've got, to be honest, but that was a really, really amazing chat, man. Thanks so much.
No, it's really good to see what you're doing, Alistair.
Thanks, Tom.
And all the best on your ride.
Mate, thank you.
It's a huge effort.
Yeah, it's just giving something to go,
Yeah.
So discovered that you're definitely not allowed to ride a bike across the harbour bridge. Fucking hell.
It had been a pretty rural trip so far, so when we met up with our friend Josh in the Big Smoke, we couldn't resist letting our hair down a little, which may have eventuated in a little sing-along at one of Sydney's 14 oldest pubs. Dog-tired, half-drunk, look like shit, but I'm happy.
I'll drink to that.
Oh my god, that's horrendous. Wow, this life savings is just going down and down. Definitely weird to your house. Down and down. Fuck me. I've never wanted to go skydiving. However, My dear friend Sam thought that me jumping out of a steel bird over Wollongong would be what he described as a GoPro ball tickler.
Very grumpy. And now it's like the last thing in the fucking world I want to do is jump out of a plane. I want to go to bed. Opening my mind to a new experience. Will this make jumping out of a plane more or less scary? Only time will tell. Could be a complete ego death at 15,000 feet. I feel like not one part of my body wants to do this right now.
Yeah, be careful not to...
Cheat yourself?
Yeah, that, and also don't wait.
The fact that we'd ended up getting carried away in the city the night before didn't help either.
I'm just worried about shitting my pants.
It's a real concern, man.
It's like...
The man who I was entrusting with my life was Charlie, a super friendly French dude who was in the French army when he fell in love with skydiving and surfing. Now he spends his time shoving tourists out of planes, surfing, taking photos, and hanging out with his young family, and he seemed pretty stoked about it all. I'll never forget what my brain did when they opened that door. It was what my comrades in the Northern Rivers would call a full body no. But before I could formulate a way out, my little French pal had shoved me out the door. I'm still perplexed as to how Charlie kept his sunnies on when I look like a horse in a wind tunnel. But one thing's for sure, adrenaline is a hell of a drug. And the view, well, that was pretty good too.
How was that?
Loved it. That was so sick.
Yeah?
Honestly, absolutely loved that. I like that like way more than I expected. That was mental. like if you don't jump for a while, do you get really like you need to jump?
I've done 8,000 jumps, man. It's like even if I don't jump for a couple of years, it's like riding a pushback.
Yeah.
You never really forget.
What about your like adrenaline and shit? If you like, do you get grumpy if you don't jump?
I used to. No, I get more grumpy if I don't surf.
Yeah.
I hope the surf's too crowded. I used to though, but no, it's just like
you kind of
after a while it gets normal.
Yeah. It's crazy getting an adrenaline hit like that, like just a custom made like smack in the mouth adrenaline hit. We're in Austinville and we're going to Bendalong. It's 165 k's and the sun is shining, which is good. But there's a wind warning. Apparently there's going to be 45 knot westerlies. So I've got a feeling that the last day may well be the hardest day. But we're going to give it a crack. I also don't have any spare inner tubes left, and it's too early for any of the bike shops to be open, so we're going to have to hit and hope it in that regard as well. I was worried about jumping out of a plane yesterday, but that turned out to be really fun, so I've got a suspicion that the last part of the trip, which I was kind of looking forward to, is going to be really hard. Sod's law, as they call it. about this. I think I'm just gonna go to nap. Like, I'm getting there tonight. Fuck it, I don't give a fuck. It's gonna be dark though. It's still 70 k's from here apparently. It's like I've had 3 flats on the same wheel in 3 days. Definitely need some light. I just fully went to Kmart and bought batteries and lights and fully forgot that I had this pump under my arm. And for some reason it didn't set the buzzer up. Free pump, woo! Third star on the right. Straight home till morning. No flat tires. I fully just like took the whole tire off and like took the whole fucker off and like went over the whole fucking thing, and I just don't know why it keeps going fucking flat. Just fell off and like literally almost got hit by a car.
So
should I just walk?
Nah, man.
Fuck, I'm so bummed.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck's making them go flat, you know? Do you reckon? I reckon I should just walk.
35 k's.
Yeah. Put so much fucking effort into this, like, that was so fucking dangerous. I literally like fell off and then my head was like right there on the line and the car just went boom straight past it. It must have been like that far from my head. It was fucked. Like, it would have killed me for sure. That was fucked. Literally have ridden from there to there, and that's where we're fucking going. I'm dropping a pin and we're coming back, and I'm gonna do the rest on fucking Walshy's shitty mountain bike. Yeah. I knew this was gonna happen. I just knew it. I had a fucking feeling in my loins about today. I fucking knew it. I knew it. Yeah. When I fucking enjoyed skydiving, I was like, something's up here.
To the bottle O.
To the bottle O. Yeah, how good's the logo? This beast looks insane. Polygon. Yeah. Where'd you buy it from? Just ordered online. Did you? Look, I could ride over a fucking kangaroo. There's a couple of jumps up with that. You should definitely hit one. I'll hit a little one. So we're gonna go back and do the last 20 k's on Jai's mountain bike. Gotta do the distance. Slightly hollow victory, but that's life. She did well though. No hard feelings. Oh fuck me, it weighs a ton. Fuck, it's an iconic look, don't you reckon? The plan was for Sam to trail me in the truck to make the most of the change of scenery to contrast the endless white lines in the rest of the film, but the recent rains had other ideas. Alone on the track. I was going the last part alone, which seemed like a fitting epitaph for this journey, to be honest. After all, despite the endless barrage of things that you should and shouldn't do in the quest to quiet the space between the ears in an increasingly chaotic world, ultimately, it's a personal journey to find out what works best for you. And for me, solo time in the great outdoors on 2 wheels works pretty well. You wouldn't know it to look at now, but a few years prior, all this was ablaze. I remember Jai telling me about the day of days during the 2019 bushfires, when the local community was cut off and formed a Mad Max-style ghetto firefighting service and managed to keep the flames at bay. It reminded me of the incredible community support and organization up north during my own recent brush with natural disaster. Last day. Cracker, eh? Not much going out there. What cover did it have?
This lady cooking for me.
Has it been the same postman I did braided?
Yeah.
It's a beautiful day to be alive, Dennis.
We had done it. It was done. However, when you've been non-stop for weeks, you get used to the constant stimulation that adventure brings, and we felt like we needed a narrative peak to symbolize the end of the trip. The biggest peak in these parts, symbolic or otherwise, is Balgan, otherwise known as Pigeon House. We figured it would be an enjoyable stroll and a nice view to end the film on, but in keeping with the general vibe of the trip, the wind was howling and the mountain technically closed. So here we are. I'd love to say that the end of this trip brought some overwhelming feeling of elation, calm and achievement, but to be honest it just felt like chapter done and on to the next. But I guess that was the whole point of this journey. The concept of endlessness. We'd done the 1,000 miles, but were our heads straight? Will they ever be? I guess only time will tell. And straightness is overrated anyway.